We're going to take you to Diepsloot now, where tensions remain, with residents vowing to continue their fight against crime. In fact, 3 protest leaders were arrested last week and charged with public violence. Now, they are due to appear in the Randburg Magistrates Court, and residents are there to show them support. In fact, the community is refusing to engage with officials until their leaders are released. We cross now to our reporter Manqoba Mchunu for an update. Manqoba, good afternoon and welcome to the show. What did the residents have to say about the postponement?
Not happy at all, William, as you can imagine. In fact, when residents went to the Randburg Magistrates Court, they were quite adamant that they're not going to leave the court without their leaders. They were saying that they want their leaders to be released because they don't understand why they were arrested by the police. They were leading a protest. There was a genuine protest, residents say, which was fighting crime in this particular community, and they feel that their leaders were targeted by the police when they were actually arrested, which is why they then mobilized this morning to go to the Randburg Magistrates Court to call for their leaders to be released. Of course, the case was postponed, and many of them are not happy with that postponement. They're saying that they now believe that this is political, given that, they expected that their leaders were going to be given bail. They said that this was not a difficult case. Their leaders are innocent, and therefore they were expecting them to come back to the community and perhaps to pave a way forward as to what's going to happen. Of course, all of this was sparked by crime in this community, the rampant crime in this area, with residents taking to the streets in the past 3 weeks demanding that President Cyril Ramaphosa comes to address them. But of course, they got a response from the office of the president that they say they were not happy with, which is why they ultimately returned to the streets. So what we do know is that the state has indicated that they want to verify the addresses of those that appeared in court, and also as far as the profile of the leaders. That is what the state has asked more time to do as it postponed this particular matter. But I want us to take a listen firstly, William, to what residents had to say after the court case. They were certainly not happy. There were also political parties that were part of that protest or the demonstration outside court, calling for the leaders to be released. But take a listen to what they had to say.
Unbelievable. You see, I would have expected this in a government that is not elected by people. And for that matter, a black government. You see, you looked into how the prosecutor put the story. Pure lie. He was shaking because he knew that he was not right and correct. Secondly, the charges they put. Who has banned a mall in Diepsloot? You were there. Did you see it? You did not see it. Who has intimidated people? On a particular day, there was no intimidation. On a moment they arrested Lefa, there's never been intimidation. And the question remains to be asked. What is it political they want to gain? We don't care the political game. We want justice for people. We want security. We want to be safe. We want to sleep well at night. Diepsloot is a crime-infested area, and government has resources. Deploying so many police, we will sleep well tonight because there are so many police around us. And why are they not coming? Look, Manqoba, if we had a meeting with them at 12 o'clock scheduled for tomorrow, we got agenda and the invitation only when I phoned them, when these guys has been arrested. When I wrote an email, they told only that they've been trying to get hold of me. They did not. They did not even send a message. Only when I've asked, I told them that we are not coming, I received this. I think the office of the president too is trying to play games with us. This is becoming very dangerous, but we are not scared.
Very vocal there, Manqoba, the community leaders. I mean, some of them behind bars as you and I speak at the moment. The NPA planning to deny bail. Tell us why.
Well, it's very clear, William, that they intend to oppose bail in this particular matter. This is because they say that these accused are facing serious crimes. So we understand that when they were arrested, William, they were charged with public violence during the day that they were arrested. But subsequent to that, from the court case itself, we've got to learn that there's been additional charges that have now been added to the charge list, and these include malicious damage to essential infrastructure as well as malicious damage to private property as well as intimidation. So those are some of the charges alongside public violence that these leaders are now facing. We also heard from the state saying that they had evidence to prove that they had intended to speak to some of the shop owners and business owners here in Diepsloot that were abused or intimidated by these particular protesters, and that they had wanted to get statements. We understand that there are over 20 statements from policemen. We're here only on the ground that took these particular statements that will be part of this case. But also in terms of evidence, there's also, according to the state, evidence from cell phone, material. They say that they intend to take some of their cell phones to be analyzed because they believe that there is some sort of collusion as far as the crime that they believe, have been committed by these leaders. But of course, we heard from residents who are unhappy. They're saying that they do not believe what is happening and what the state is saying, because they were there. They were part of that protest. They saw what happened, and therefore they were quite adamant that these are in fact charges that are politically motivated. I also asked the NPA about this and what residents were saying, their assertions as far as this is concerned. But the state saying that these are quite serious charges and they will oppose bail. But take a listen, William, to what the state had to say.
Remember that the accused persons before court are facing allegations of a serious nature. We know that they are facing allegations of damaging essential infrastructure, which is a very serious offense. And they are also, amongst others, facing charges of intimidation. They are facing charges of public violence as well as malicious injury to property. So our stance as the state, we have indicated in court that we will be opposing bail. However, we are yet to decide whether or not we will be presenting evidence in the form of an affidavit, or we'll have the investigating officer testify in court and present evidence.
Manqoba, thank you so much for your time this evening. We will catch up with you later. That's our senior reporter, Manqoba Mchunu, live to us from Diepsloot.